Welcome to the Denasha Harrison Show here on Intellectual Radio, 708-223-8953. It's good to be with you all once again. Thank you for supporting the Denasha Harrison Show here on Intellectual Radio. We feed our brain. If you want to support the Denasha Harrison Show to include any other show on the Intellectual Radio platform, we are one big family. Go ahead and go to IntellectualRadio.com. There's a donate button on there. There's also a subscribe button on there. So do your due diligence and help support this type of radio. This type of radio should be on mainstream. This type of podcast should be on mainstream. The issues that we talk about, you don't see much on the networks. Um, you got people getting fished out of the Des Plaines River. That was the last show a couple of Wednesdays ago. Talk a little bit about that to include a couple of other things. And I'll just start with that. Big ups to King Mustafa, who came out and came on my show. We actually met right here in the studio, and he spoke on some things concerning roundtable discussions and things of that nature. I was not here last week, and he was not able to make it this week due to some deaths in his family. So, my condolences to you and your family. And if you're watching, you're always welcome to come back on the show. So, just to pick up where we left off from the last show, we talked about getting a roundtable going. There was a couple of brothers and sisters that we reached out to from the last show about coming in to talk about things that are important to them concerning their community, concerning their households, things of that nature, uh, just to make it known not only their struggles but their solutions on how to handle the struggles. And if you think that people aren't struggling these days, just because the sky is blue and the water is wet and the grass is green and the wind is blowing, um, you got another thing coming. You got another. You you're misinformed. I'll put it that way. You cannot measure happiness or sadness by the size of people's bank accounts, by what they wear, by what's going on with what you see. It's about getting into what's really going on with an individual based on your relationship with them and your relationship with the communities and your where you want to put your energy into. So again, I'm thankful that I met that brother and that we had the conversations that we had. I'm looking forward to having more conversations with him so that he can bring some things to the table for the show and bring some things to the forefront and come up with some solutions to a lot of things that we have going on in our community. And again, um, just because it looks good don't mean it's good for you, or don't mean that there's good things going on behind the scenes. Um, I shout out Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, because no matter what he said he was going to do, or what he's trying to do, or what he's doing, he's got a lot on his shoulders concerning how he's going to continue to move the city forward. There's a lot of projects that you don't hear about. There's a lot of things that are in development. And the only way you'll know about those things is if you actually get into what's going on with that administration, with that um, with that board, with that committee, with those aldermen who are standing for right when it comes to the city, like Brother Alderman Moore. He's been doing wonderful things since the time he got in office. His office is off of 79th and Ashland, always doing great things. So shout out to him and other aldermen like him. Pray for your leaders. If you really want to know what's going on, don't just push the narrative that you hear on social media, on the networks. Do your research when it comes to what you hear on this show. Please do your research because we deal with facts when it comes to what's going on. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about Sonia Massey. Um, my condolences to the Massey family. Um, and this should never happen uh, to any family who calls for help from public servants who are sworn to um, serve and protect, only to get shot in the face. So, the body cam moment police fatally shot Illinois woman Sonia Massey. Body cam shows the moment police fatally shot 36-year-old Sonia Massey, who had called authorities over concerns about a prowler at her home. Illinois State Police released body cam video of the incident. The video has been blurred by police. NBC News has edited the video for graphic content. Sangamon County Deputy Sean Grayson was indicted on charges of first degree murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and official misconduct. The account of the tense moment when Grayson yelled from across the counter at Massey to set down a pot of hot water. He then threatened to shoot her. Macy ducked, briefly rose, and Grayson fired his pistol at her. Authorities said Macy, 36, had called 911 earlier to report a suspected prowler. The video shows the two deputies responded just before 1 a.m. on July 6th at her home in Springfield, 200 miles southwest of Chicago. For those who um, don't know the geography of this area, it's 200 miles south. So 3 hours and some change, depending on how you drive. They first walked around the house and found uh, a black SUV with broken windows in the driveway. Okay. It took Massey 3 minutes to open the door after the deputies knocked, and she immediately said, "Don't hurt me." She seemed confused as they spoke at the door, and she repeated that she needed help, referenced God, and told them she didn't know who owned the car. Uh, there's more, but the gist of it is this: Sister got smoked in her kitchen uh, by people who are sworn to serve and protect her, whether she was having a mental breakdown, whether she was totally sane, whether she was whatever it was. She didn't deserve to get shot and killed in her own house or anywhere else. Um, I don't believe that she woke up that day thinking that she wasn't going to get through the day and wake up the next day. Who does, right? Who knows? Um, I can't speak for the deputy or anybody. I can at this case. I just read you the facts. Now I'm gonna give my opinion. I feel like it's beyond a person just getting up saying, you know what, I'm gonna kill a black lady today. I'm gonna kill somebody today. I'm just gonna wake up and I'm gonna kill. I believe it's more to it than that. I believe that there's a culture that permits people to feel like it's okay to offend people on any scale, whether it's physical abuse when it comes to doing your job, roughing somebody up, or pulling your firearm and ending somebody's life. It starts with a culture, and I believe that the organization that he's a part of or was a part of probably saw some of the signs that this person probably shouldn't be carrying a firearm. I'm speculating. That's what I believe. It doesn't make it right or wrong. It's my opinion. So I know I talked about dealing with facts on the show. I read you the facts and I'm telling you how I feel. I believe that there's a culture that allows people to feel like it's okay for them to be offensive towards others. I believe that there are certain people out there that are truly uh, the faces of the hate that other people feel, that other people discuss, whether it's in private or public, closed rooms, closed doors, open doors. And I feel like you have some people that just say, you know what, I'm going to act on the things that I'm feeling. I'm going to act on the things that are discussed. I'm going to act on the things that I believe are okay because the culture allows it to be done. And again, prayers and blessings to this young lady's family. She wasn't even 40 years old, um, and it's just disgusting. It's very disgusting that it's okay in some people's households to think that it's okay to kill our women and our citizens, our fellow citizens. It's disgusting, and of course, it needs to stop. But as long as you have people that are standing for hate, as long as you have people that don't get involved, as long as you have people that refuse to do what's right, then these things will continue to be among us. So, how do we get through this? How do we move forward? We move forward again, as I said before, by starting in the mirror, taking a look at our households, taking a look at our relationships, taking a look at our circles. Uh, Macy, however you pronounce her name. I believe it's Massey. Uh, I wonder who was in her circle. I wonder who um, was available for her, and I um, I hope that each and every one of you do that exercise. Take a look at your circle and make sure that you start being a part of the solution when it comes to things that are as disgusting as this. There's so many other disgusting things that are out there, right? Um, when we talk about the upcoming election, um, I think it's disgusting to not support someone who is for the people and has proven to be for the people. I believe that when you kick the can down the road and you speak about the talking points without looking at the facts between the different people that are running for the highest office in this land, when you're just kicking the can down the road and you're misinformed and you're not speaking facts, I think that's disgusting. I think it's very important that you take a look at what both of these candidates for the presidency have done before they got to the point of where they are. And if you feel like it's picking a lesser of two evils, then I encourage you to either A, put your name on the ballot, find a lot of money from somewhere and run, or B, support the person that's going to support you and your community the most. I've heard a lot of brothers and a lot of men talk about how they would not put their vote behind a woman to be the president of these United States. It doesn't make any sense to me. Again, that's how I feel. So it doesn't make any sense to me that you would not support someone who supports the rights of others, especially in this climate when pro choice has been taken off the table. Roe v. versus Wade has been taken off the table. When you have states that are taking choice out of the conversation, when you still have the debate about diversity, equity, and inclusion, not only in the workspaces, but also in the schoolhouses. So just because you got your education and you understand what it was, or you had the stories told to you from your medias or your grandmothers or grandfathers or uncles about what it was when they grew up in the 40s and 50s and 60s, and the stories that they told about when they grew up in the 10s and 20s. And we're not that far removed from slavery, y'all. So we're not beating that drum because it's an excuse to not uh, pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. First, you got to have a pair of boots on to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And so when we don't allow for these future generations to understand what it really is all about our history, man, I'm not happy about how our history is in this country, and neither should you be. I'm not comfortable always discussing what we've been through and what we're going through today. It wasn't comfortable for me to discuss a sister getting shot in her kitchen, getting shot in the face by somebody who's supposed to serve and protect that person. However, it's the truth. However, it's the facts. And if you can't look at history in its totality when it comes to the facts of it, then it becomes erased. It disappears. And so if you don't stand for affirmative action, if you don't stand for diversity, equity, and inclusion, then what happens to the history of you and your people? What happens to the roots that you had established in this land? You weren't even supposed to be planted in this land. You were removed from the land that you were from. However, you have a history in this land. You have a history in these states. You have a history in this nation. We have a history of defending this nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic, right? For all of those who served in the military. It wasn't easy for us in the military. I'm absolutely positively sure that if you served in the 80s and in the 90s, you've had some stories about racism. You have some stories about a lot of prejudices that you had to endure and overcome. You have a lot of stories about favoritism, one way or the other. You have a lot of stories about quid pro quo. Absolutely guarantee you do. And so, because of that, I believe that even though it's not comfortable, even though it may be difficult to discuss, that it is our obligation to continue to push the story forward, not a narrative, because if you're narrating something, then you're talking about parts of things that are occurring. I'm talking about pushing the facts. Okay, we can get somebody else to narrate once the facts are established. I'm talking about educating yourself about what our people continue to go through, not only what we've been through. And I'm talking about protecting our history in this country. You got more people moving out of this country overseas because they're being treated in a different way. They're being treated with a little bit more dignity, a little bit more respect. Their money goes a little farther, depending on what country they're going to. They can breathe a little bit more. They don't have to worry about um, the same things in those countries that they worry about here when it comes to law enforcement, when it comes to politics, when it comes to a lot of social issues from within, from our own, when it comes to people not getting up, getting out, and moving forward. Now, with that being said, I don't feel like this should be a war on law enforcement at all. I feel like that the individual at the Sangamon County Police Department, he needs to get his just desserts, and anybody else like him, and any other department across the country. That doesn't mean that all law enforcement that's sworn to serve and protect is about that. So I would not spend a lot of energy focused on the negatives of the jobs that law enforcement has to do. Hey, you do the crime, you do the time. There's different. Um, there's a different. There's a lot of latitude um, that our justice systems have when it comes to how you are judged. Okay, if you're tried and you're convicted, there's still the sentencing phase, right? So if a judge has a latitude to do 6 years or 25, yeah, us as black folks are on the latter end of that spectrum when it comes to close to 25 years versus 6. It's a fact. So, in spite of that, I still believe that we have a responsibility to ourselves and to our community to not bash on law enforcement that's doing their job. They have a purpose. Let them do their job. Everybody's not like the individual who uh, put a bullet in the head of somebody in their kitchen, in their home, right? So, this is the Denasha Harrison Show here on Intellectual Radio. Again, we're talking about things. When we come back from a short musical break, we're going to talk a little bit more about this presidential race, and you can feel free to call in, talk about anything that's on your mind. Talk to you in a minute. God's gonna trouble water. You ain't got enough money to buy my soul. Ain't strong enough to stop me. I'm out of control. This the matrix. I'm Neo. I know that I know. I am that I am. That's why I speak so bold. On the verge of losing hope. I know where to go. Switch my style from singing vocals to magical flows. Study the streets a little closer. One with the ghetto. Got wise as I got older. Unloaded the metal. New millennium rebel. After that federal dollar. Balance the world on my shoulders. I know my soldiers will follow me at war. Cause kids still dying in the streets at war. On the block running from the police at war. With the US, this ain't the Middle East at war. With the problems in my own community and it's war. If the only way to fight an enemy, Lord, save my father from this bottom of Hennessy. What more can I give? I'm giving all of me, and for real, it's only getting hotter for me. Harder to see and harder to breathe. And there's only one remedy. I gotta be smarter than my enemies. We the water. Welcome back to the Denasha Harrison Show here on Intellectual Radio, 708-223-8953. If you got time, you want to call in, have a conversation, feel free to do so. If you want to comment, do so. You can find me on IntellectualRadio.com, and you'll also find me on YouTube as well as Facebook. I'm going to start going live. I just wanted to mention that too. Um, for my own page, you'll start seeing the live feeds going on, and then you can go ahead and pop in, ask questions, things of that nature. I'm still getting comfortable with the how tos. No excuse for not having the ability to do multiple things, but I'm still getting used to a couple of things when it comes to this whole technology stuff. So there's a quote on my Facebook page, and the quote read this, and I wanted to share it with you. Um, it simply says, "Don't blame a clown for acting like a clown. Ask yourself why you keep going to the circus." So I think that's very important. Uh, we tend to put ourselves in a lot of situations that are not advantageous for our existence. They are not advantageous for our existence. We're not living our purpose in these circles. We're not living our purpose doing these different things. And it's just not a healthy situation. I think that we should stop attending the circus where we complain about the clowns. I don't know too many people that like clowns. I know I didn't like clowns growing up. Um, maybe it has something to do with that whole John Wayne Gacy situation. I came from that time when Cat was putting people under the baseboards of his home and doing all kind of crazy stuff. You had young men missing all over the city of Chicago. So maybe that has something to do with me not liking clowns. I don't know. But um, if I don't, want to be around clowns, you can find them usually at the circus. I'm not going to the circus. So I would just encourage each and every one of you to just, change up. If you want your perspective to change on how you want to move forward and do things different and do things better, go ahead and change that up. Uh, I think, again, that when you take a look at what you what a person has, and you base what you feel a person is worth based on what you see, that you should take another look. Um, Everything is not what you see. Everything is not based on um, everything is not based on what a person has or what a person doesn't have. Again, I think that we owe it to ourselves and we owe it to our communities to dig a little bit deeper. So going back to the whole political situation, again, I don't talk a lot about politics, but just to reiterate, everybody has a right to choose. Absolutely. When someone's trying to take that right to choose from people, then I believe that that person should not be supported because today is women's rights, tomorrow is going to be something else. Possibly. History has taught us that. Um, I say often, your health is your wealth. Your health is your wealth. Your health is your wealth. When you look at the history of healthcare in this country, this current administration has done a lot when it comes to the people's health, especially women's health, but the people's health. When you look at the administration prior to that, um, there was a lot of energy put into trying to undo what the Obama administration did. A lot of people called it, Obamacare. A lot of people, said that Obama didn't do a lot for the brothers and sisters. Hey, you know what? I disagree. And again, I would say, look at the facts. This show is only 1 hour, maybe less. And I would encourage you to do your homework before you start talking trash about 44, which is the Obama um, presidency, and even for those who don't like Trump, he did some good as well. Take a look at what 45 did, but again, take a look at what was undone. Take a look at what was under attack. Take a look at all the moves to put, federal judges in place, to put the Supreme Court justices in place, to undo a lot of the policies that historically help the people. Now, if you want to talk about what the Democrats have not done in the inner city, I get where you're going and I understand how you feel, but at the same time, you have to look at everything in its totality. You have to look at the multi-pronged approach or attack on some of the things that have been undone in spite of the efforts of politicians. Shout out to Elevated Vibes. I was really enjoying that show before mine. If you didn't tune into that show, check it out. They talked about a lot of things. One of the things that I heard them talk about was, the politics and about how Democrats and Republicans are pretty much the same when it comes to a lot of the things that they've put the people through and a lot of the policies that um, they did not execute because of the different political wars that were going on. Like you would have some Republican policies during this administration where actually um, there was a bipartisan agreement for some policies and they never passed because they wanted the Biden administration to be a lame duck administration. They wanted him to be a one-term president for some reasons, and it looks like for other reasons he is going to be a one-term president. But the reason I mention that is because in the middle of all of that are the people. In the middle of all of that are the needs of the people. So you have politicians that are pretty much sitting at the same table from time to time, that have the same stock holdings, have the same uh, interest, and in the middle of their fight, the people are suffering. So how is it that I can advocate for one party over the other? I feel that it's necessary for us to advocate for a party where the people, the common people, can affect change the most. See, a lot of us don't have the purse strings to pull to support those who don't show interest in our communities. Your vote should be the only thing that matters. It should be the only thing that counts. But when you have a vote that's up against another vote regarding people who are not educated in the facts, then it's very, very important that not only do you vote, but that you mobilize others to vote as well, and that you put yourself in a position to educate people about their vote and how important their vote is. Because there's a lot that rides on every election, on every level, from local politics to national politics. It matters. And so, how can I advocate for one party over the other? Because one party is more reachable. My vote goes further when it comes to the issues that I and most common folks care about. And when it comes to that other vote or that other party, my interest on that side is not being served so much. So, again, do your homework. Please don't sit on your vote. Please get registered to vote. It's very important that your voice is heard. And a lot of people say, well, what about the Electoral College? What about those, super delegates? Nobody asked for. I'll take for an example. I'll say for an example. Nobody asked for Kamala Harris to be the person to represent us. I understand, but nobody knew that the sitting president was gonna roll out of the race, and a lot of people wasn't really excited about bagging that individual either. I get it. Again, like I said before, if you feel like it's the lesser of two evils, vote for the one that will do the most good, or pull a lot of money together and you run for president or whatever office you feel like is going to affect change for you. Um, and if you don't care, that's understandable as well, because everybody's not passionate about, or people really don't give two fricks about politics. They don't care about what happens in their neighborhood. They don't care about, what's going on in the world. I get that. But I would encourage you people that do care to distance yourselves from those type of people, right? Get those people out of your circle. I get it. They're your uncle. They're your aunt. Okay, I get that. But guess what? When they don't put that vote forward to help affect change in a positive way, them not voting for something is a vote against whatever you're trying to stand for. That's the facts. Politics affects us every single day, in every way. When you purchase what you purchase from whatever store you're purchasing it from, that's politics. Why? Because it came from somewhere. There's tariffs on that. Maybe it's not tariffs on that. Your price is being affected because of that. It's politics. So, again, if someone is not for you, that doesn't mean that they're necessarily against you. But if somebody's not doing anything at all without any type of rationale, just because they don't care, then that person's not for you. So, uh, just my advice, just my suggestions, just my 2 cents. Again, and again, get involved. So, again, Kamala Harris, I said the name. Kamala Harris is a person that I believe stands more uh, for our for our cause, for our values, and I don't think she's perfect. I'm not running for president, who she is, and between those two, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, I'm putting my energy into Kamala Harris. So that's it. That's how I feel, and I respect how you feel, and I respect whatever argument you have as to why you don't want to stand with either candidate. But with that, I hope you got a reason, and I hope you're not standing in other people's way. So respect the fact that people want to vote the way they want to vote, and have a good reason why you feel like you want to vote the way you want to vote, or have no reason at all. It's your right. I personally don't believe that a lot of us are educated about having that type of power to actually put our voice forward with the ballot box. A lot of people have fought for it, died for it. Um, there's a lot of respect in some circles because of it, and then you got the other side of it. A lot of people don't care that you fought for it. A lot of people don't care that people died for the vote. Um, a lot of people don't really care about the military. A lot of people that were in the military don't really care about the military. When I look at all the double talk that's going on in politics, man, you served. You know what it's like. You've been out there. You've been away from your families. You've had people of various colors, of various backgrounds to your left and to your right that helped you get back home. And now that you are back home, you can't stand with the same people that you served with because of skin color or an ideology that doesn't fit the narrative of something that you know is not the truth. Do you honestly believe that women should not have the right to choose? Do you really believe that? Or is that just some type of narrative that you rocking with because you feel that you're more selfish about something totally different that has nothing to do with a woman's right to choose? I have daughters, and um, I come from a woman like everybody does. And so, how does it make sense to say that you don't have a right to choose? It just doesn't make sense to me. And if it doesn't make sense to you, then do something about it. And if it makes sense to you, just help me understand. Help me understand how um, your religious ideology trumps a person's right to choose what they do with their body. So, if you believe that God does not exist in us, if you believe that God sits on high somewhere away from you and only on high away from you and does not exist in us as we live and breathe, if you believe that we are not made in God's image, if you believe that we don't have a right to, if you believe we don't have a right to take care of these bodies, take care of these temples, um, to present our temple a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto the God that you believe in. If you don't believe that, they're not going to understand why you would not feel that a woman should not have a right to choose. But if you do believe that this is a temple that should be maintained by the person who exists inside of it, then how do you get off letting telling the person how they're supposed to treat that temple? So it's just my 2 cents. That's just my opinion. And again, this is the Denasha Harrison Show. You are on Intellectual Radio. We're going to come right back and talk about some more things before we wrap it up for tonight. So stay with us.
You ain't got enough money to buy my soul. Ain't strong enough to stop me. I'm out of control. This the matrix, I'm Neo. I know that I know. I am that I am. That's why I speak so bold. On the verge of losing hope, I know where to go. Switch my style from singing vocals to magical flows. Study the streets a little closer. One with the ghetto. Got wise as I got older. Unloaded the metal. New millennium rebel. After that federal dollar. Balance the world on my shoulders. I know my soldiers will follow me at war. Cause kids still dying in the streets at war. On the block running from the police at war. With the US, this ain't the Middle East at war. With the problems in my own community and it's war. It's the only way to fight an enemy. Lord, save my father from this bottom of Hennessy. What more can I give? I'm giving all of me. And for real, it's only getting hotter for me. Harder to see and harder to breathe. And there's only one remedy. I gotta be smarter than my enemies.
Wade in the water, children, now wade in the water. God's in trouble.
Welcome back to the Denasha Harrison Show here on Intellectual Radio, where you feed your brain, where we encourage you to feed your brain. And again, here on IntellectualRadio.com, we are one beat, one sound, one family when it comes to the word that we're getting out, when it comes to the why. You have people speaking with you. When it comes to this platform, I highly encourage you to support this platform beyond the Denasha Harrison Show, beyond the show that came on before me. Take a look. Go to intellectualradio.com, check out the shows, find out what show fits you the most. And if you aren't already subscribed, please subscribe to the show. When you see these shows, go ahead and press like and comment. It really helps the shows go a long way. And with that, if you want to donate anything to intellectualradio.com, just pick a show. I'm not going to even advocate for you to donate to the Denasha Harrison Show. I'm not going to even advocate for you to um, press a lot of likes and comments for my show. I am putting myself in a position to be a voice for the radio station, for the podcasts that come before me. Day after day, people are doing this thing. And I really want to encourage you to support intellectualradio.com. They've been around for a minute, and I don't believe they're going anywhere. Why? Not only because of us who are here pushing this message, but also because of you. You continue to support. I really appreciate it. Again, if you're not feeling like supporting the Denasha Harrison Show, but you want to donate to somebody else, I encourage you. I encourage you. I encourage you. Take one day out of the week, one day out of the week and just check out the platform. I've done it and it's a blessing. Uh, it's a lot of funny shows on here. It's a lot of very informative shows on here. Um, and because of that, it's enriched my life. iHeartRadio, they don't play when it comes to the message. They don't play when it comes to the black and white, not on this platform. When it comes to intellectualradio.com, the whole slogan, feed your brain, hey, they're so serious about it. And everybody's opinion is not the same on this show. All right. You have a difference of opinions, you have a difference of styles. Uh, and and that's what makes a platform like this so rich. So again, I will continue to advocate for intellectualradio.com, not only because they gave me an opportunity, but also because they give others opportunities to come and shine. I've never had such ease coming to a platform. I remember when I first came to IntellectualRadio.com not too long ago. Intellectual Radio, I guess I'm going on, I don't know how long I've been on the air, but when I first got here, I had the conversation. I had, all my stuff in front of me, all my different notes. I was ready for a long, intense conversation about the back and forth. And I was like, yeah, I had my show in Baltimore and this and that, and blase blah. And at the end of the day, it's like, hey, when you want to come on? Hey, it's gonna be this much. How many shows you want to do? I'm just like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like I was like Major Payne when he had that scene. Like, what's your angle? Like I'm missing something. I was feeling all warm and fuzzy, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's got to be something more. But no, it's not. It was a very simple process. It was a very easy process, and again, I'm ready. Right, I'm ready for the back and forth. It's like, hey man, when you want to come on? Just let us know. All right, like we'll take a look at your other shows. What you want to talk about, what type of show you want it to be. I have my whole resume. Like, hey, between this time and this time, when I was in Baltimore, I was on Be Exposed Radio, this and that. You can go look at this show. They were like, yeah, okay, all right, I hear all that. But at the end of the day, when you want to come on this platform and start contributing, and with that, just as easy as it was to start the process with this show, it's just as easy to not be on this show anymore if you're not about what intellectual radio is about. And it's nothing personal. But at the end of the day, because they have a standard, I can really appreciate being in a space that has the standards that they have when it comes to communicating with the people beyond this platform. See, so a lot of people think that intellectualradio.com here in Chicago just reaches Chicago, but that's not the case. We have people watching from coast to coast, and we have people watching outside of the coast of the United States. We have people over in Africa watching, people in Europe watching, South Central America, they're watching the show. So it has a wonderful reach, and I will encourage you to continue to support the platform. IntellectualRadio.com, where you feed your brain, one big family. And when I say one drum, one sound, one, I don't mean that everybody's thinking the same or doing the same on the platform. What I mean by that is that everybody's moving in the direction of positivity. Everybody's moving in the direction of bringing you the information that they feel is important for you to hear. Everybody's moving in the same direction when it comes to you feeding your brain. They're giving you something to think about. They're giving you something to work with. They're encouraging you. And there was a lot of things on this show tonight to me that were very heavy, but it's the truth. Uh, Again, nobody likes to talk about um, well, I don't personally like to talk about um, someone losing their life or someone spending the rest of their life in jail because they did something stupid. Because there's families on both sides that have to suffer because of the actions of a few. And um, I don't like sharing that sometimes, but it's a necessary evil. You got to get the truth out there. Um, you have to make sure that you inform the people. And if you feel like you're going to be happy throughout this life all your life, then you're kidding yourself. If you feel like every day you're going to get up and you're going to be happy doing what it is that you need to do when it comes to this life, um, that's not going to be the case. That's okay. Joy and happiness, I've learned, are two different things. Happiness is what you react to based on your experiences. Joy kind of drives you, it's on the inside. So it might not always come in the form of happiness on your face all the time, but it's that je ne sais quoi, it's that thing that drives you, that continues to push you to be positive. Although you might not have a positive day, you being a positive individual navigating through this life um, is what's important. Because if you allow every condition or every situation or circumstance to dictate how you're going to feel or how you're going to be, then that's not a happy life to have. And so let me encourage you all to understand the difference between joy and happiness. From my understanding, once again, You're happy based on your reactions to something as well as how you feel. But when you have joy on the inside of you, driving you every day, pushing you, then that's more of who you are in spite of what you're going through. So, in spite of what somebody's trying to put on you, or in spite of what somebody's trying to present in front of you, you still have that joy on the inside, which drives you through those situations, and 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 has you in a pleasant space. You can continue to be pleasant even though you're going through. You don't have to let everybody know how bad you feel you got it. Notice I say how bad you feel you got it because this too shall pass, right? So when we get up and when we do the things that uh, we can do, the things that are within our purview, or as my Masonic brothers and my Eastern Star sisters will say, things that are within your cable toe. If we take care of those things and we don't overextend ourselves, then we can normalize the situations in our life and we can go ahead and exercise that joy, and that joy will reflect, and we can be more happy than less in spite of what we're going through. So I encourage you to understand the differences between the two and to practice those type of things. And so with that, again, I would like to encourage all of you to continue to support the Denasha Harrison Show as well as Intellectual Radio. Continue to support the shows that are on this platform. And if your support cannot come in the form of dollars, that's okay, because you're not only donating dollars or trying to, your time is important, almost just as important as those dollars. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you're feeding your brain. You're not only educating yourself, but you're bringing somebody else on board. If you don't have the monetary means to support this platform, then please do so in word and deed by bringing somebody else to the table to experience these type of shows. And I believe that when you do that, there will be no regrets. If you like what you see, if you like what you hear, then continue to share so that others can be affected in a positive way concerning this platform. And I know I mentioned it before, and I'm going to say it again. This type of radio, this type of podcast does not get the play that I believe it should get on a grander scale. I believe that we are responsible for ensuring that we go above and beyond what the networks are continuing to show, the major networks. They show blips of what happens to our people. They show blips of what's going on in our community, right? So it's not up to them to highlight and showcase what we're going through or what we're overcoming or what we're doing. It's up to us. It's up to us, and we can do it. We can do it, and we should do it. And we're doing it. I'll share that. We're doing it, but we should be doing more. We can always do more. We can always be better. We can always go further. All right. We can always do more. So thank you for listening. Again, I won't be here next week, but the week after, I'll join you again on the Denasha Harrison Show. And until then, if the levee don't break and the creek don't rise, we will see you again on the Denasha Harrison Show here on Intellectual Radio. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the support, and we'll talk to you soon.